Yeah, I sort of feel silly having a mic with just four of you in the room, but for taping purposes, and if other people walk in. So first we're going to introduce ourselves, and then we did have an activity, but since it's a small group, I think we can just do it as a group. So my name is Kate Smith. I am a white female with brown hair, and I'm wearing a gray sweater and blue pants. I am the executive director of Runway of Dreams. I think you all, if you were all at the keynote, saw the founder of Runway of Dreams, Mindy Shire, with red hair, and spoke about how she came to this with her son, Oliver. I don't know if she read to you or talked about the mission, but our mission is really to empower and enlighten people and companies and designers and people in the beauty industry about the importance of fashion and beauty and adaptable clothing for everyone. Clothing is something we all need to be clothed, and everyone should be able to feel powerful and beautiful and handsome, and particularly in the workforce, which I know everyone's here to talk about that. And today we are going to show you some samples of adaptable clothing from many of the major designers who are out there and who we work with. Some we work with, most we do work with, some we don't work with. And we are also going to be here most of the afternoon if people want to come back and actually look at the clothes. So I'm going to pass on.
Hi, my name is Maddie. I'm the Director of Education and National Programs with Runway of Dreams, and I get to work with all of our young innovators and our young designers, which is an incredible job. And we work with, I think right now we have between 15 to 18 schools across the country. We have one in London, so we're technically international, which is very, very exciting. And I also get to run our internship and our associate board. So I get to really work with everyone between the ages of, I don't know, 18 to 35, and it's a really great program. I'm biased, but I think it's awesome.
Hi, my name is Emmy Jo Hammond. I am 25, a white female with blonde hair, wearing a black shirt and gray pants. And I am a current Iowa State University PhD student studying fashion, Dr. Fashion coming soon in 2 years. So yeah, I'm really excited to be working with Runway of Dreams. I was an intern, and now I serve on the associate board, and my research interest in fashion, one of them is definitely diversity and inclusion. So yeah, it's a great organization, and I'm actually visually impaired. So combining disability and fashion is something that I really, have always enjoyed working with. So I'm happy to be with Runway of Dreams.
So as Kate said, we had an activity, but since we have a nice small group, we can just kind of talk it through. We have questions around the room, and our idea was to have you all write your answers on your Post-it notes and put them on the wall, or keep them to yourself, and we can talk through it all. Hi, Mindy. We have Mindy who just walked in, our CEO and founder.
Bye, Mindy. Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, we have our questions on the board or on the wall. So what we're going to do is just talk through each of them, and we can just talk through them as a big group since there are a small group of us. But yeah, so I can read through all of them right now. On the left right here, we have what would make you feel more confident when looking for a job. In the back, we have what are some of your favorite brands or for clothes and accessories, adaptive or not. What challenges do you face with getting dressed? And what do you hope to see in the future of adaptive apparel? So yeah, we can kind of just go through each question, maybe talk about it. If anyone has any thoughts, yeah, maybe we can give you guys a few minutes to brainstorm on your own, and then we can share in about 5 minutes. Okay, we can start with what would make you feel more confident when looking for a job, whether that's you or a family member or friend. So yeah, we can start with that one.
Okay, let's do each, instead of what we were going to do, let's talk about each question separately. So what would make you feel more confident when looking for a job? Yes. That's a good idea. Yep. Anybody else? And even with, in general, I love that. And also about the way you feel or the way you look, too. Yeah. Yep. Anything else? I also think when I'm going for an interview or even just day-to-day work, I think about comfort. You want to look good, but I also know, especially like today, we came up from New York City, and I was thinking we're going to be on our feet all day, so that's another thing I think about. Anybody else?
I have one. It's kind of silly, but I always think about like not wanting to sweat too much through my clothing. We recently worked with a student. Yeah, we had a student who had, I believe it's called hyperhidrosis, and she had excessive sweating. And we talked about that a lot, where it's something that we all face, and she just has it, a bit harder sometimes. And I think about that on the daily, not just with jobs, but yeah, I think that's a big one for me.
Okay, let's move to the second question. Well, we'll do this one. What do you hope to see in the future of adaptive apparel? So and I don't know, if everyone here for themselves or for the thought of, think about what you would hope to see for fashion or beauty in the future. Yeah, and that's a really interesting, and we work with, and we'll show you some of these designers at all levels. There's Kohl's and Target, but then there's also Tommy Hilfiger, and Neiman Marcus does adaptive tailoring. But that is a big issue. And come on in. Yeah. We're going to talk about how to find them and everything. Hi, nice to see you. Yeah, so what the question, we're going through some questions, and then we're going to share some of the adaptive apparel. But the question we just asked is, what do you hope to see in the future of adaptive apparel, clothing, or beauty? Any ideas? We talked about definitely cost. And the thing we're going to talk about is the accessibility, where to find them.
But I don't want to detract from that. But people with disabilities like myself also work in high level of jobs. And so we want to find something like that in the better quality clothing as well. I don't necessarily mean designer brands. I just mean like, I'm not going to go looking, necessarily at Walmart, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm probably going to be at the mall, right?
Right.
And I'm going to be looking there at, like, I was super excited when we talked about Victoria's Secret. Like, didn't even know that was a thing, and I'm probably in Victoria's Secret on a daily basis with my 7-year-old daughter. And I love their stuff, but I can't always manage it. So I think to the point that was just made, absolutely it needs to be visible. And it needs to be out there and aware. Because, right now, a lot of stuff people with disabilities sort of hanging off to the side, and mainstream is, and I really liked the speech and talking about how it needs to be accepted as normal, and that's the only way that people will start to actually use it. Because I will add, sorry, I'm talking too much.
No.
That people with disabilities actually do have money, and about 12 years ago or so, to 20, before I was really getting into workforce, my stepfather had made this kind of comment that businesses need to understand accessibility is important because people with disabilities travel and they have money. And so the ADA is out there, great, that's important, but actually what really businesses need to recognize is that we have spending power, and that if they market to us, we will actually buy their product. So that's just sorry, I got it the bus. benefit a lot of people, and you'll find, just like with, automatic doors having really been put out there for people with strollers, it benefits people with disabilities. And because so many of us don't have the same disability, it becomes hard to market as just one disability. So when they start putting universal access in, it makes such a difference in that.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, that it's not just adaptable, it's universal, and we talk about that. And you're right. Right, people with disabilities is the largest minority in the world, and the cost, and it's going to affect every one of us in our lifetime in some way. And I think, and I can't remember, we were just talking about this, but you're right, the spending power is in the trillions. So I think that's a conversation that we have at Runway of Dreams with a lot of these designers, that it isn't just about creating adaptable and inclusive clothing, but that it's a money make, because obviously a lot of these brands are in it for the money as well as, you're right, for everything. And we'll watch the time, because I want to make sure we get to the close, and I know we had to start late, so thank you for that. What time is it, actually, just so okay, so we have some time just to go through. I just want to go through the questions we had, and then you guys can talk about the clothing. So what was the next question?
I can just go through it. The next question is, what challenges do you face when getting dressed? Anyone want to share to their experience? Yeah.
I think for me, I'm saying to myself actually this morning, this is probably the first time I've worn a pair of pants in a while.
Yeah.
Because, through the pandemic, I discovered hoodie dresses. So,
Same.
so, those pants, I've had to, rearrange my brain in terms of what it's like to put on pants, because it's not always the easiest, because I have to balance myself and then, try to pull them up and, navigate, the clothing and myself, because my balance isn't that great. And, also with, through the pandemic, I've had a lot of issues with lymphedema and swelling in my legs and feet, so I haven't worn shoes in quite a while. So things like that have really challenged footwear and
I struggle to pull things out, button things, and I tend to have to wear things really big because it's a struggle to pull something up tight. And as I've kind of moved up in my career, I've navigated or wanted to wear more professional wear than just common wear leggings. And zippers and snaps and hooks are all difficult, and not having enough stretch in the clothes that are professional wear is an issue. And what little elastic ones are generally marketed at people who are retired and they're just kind of slouchy. So I think that more elastic wear that is either stretchy enough to pull off and fall with actual pockets and look like real pants and not just leggings.
Right.
Because during the pandemic, I started wearing a whole lot of yoga pants, and still mostly do, but that's why I wear nice shirts so I can have something to pull me up. But I would really like to be able to wear more slim-fitting clothes that I don't have to wear really big to cover, with the leggings.
Right, and we'll show you, there's some dresses that are particularly helpful to put on, especially for wheelchair users. So let's get to the last question, and then this is sort of what you all came for. What's the last question? I can't see
So
it from here.
the last question is, what are some of your favorite brands of clothes to wear, or accessories, either adaptive or not?
I was going to say Anthropology is one of my favorite brands, and they actually just launched an adaptive line, which a lot of people don't know about because it's kind of newer. And of course, like you mentioned, Victoria's Secret. I think it's awesome that they're getting, into the adaptive space, which is amazing. So yeah, those are two of my favorite brands.
And other parts of me are outsized, and that's typical of a person with a disability who uses a wheelchair. Unfortunately, it's very hard to train for women who don't move enough, and we tend to sit so much that we end up being sort of pancakes. So the bottom is wider, and so what happens is if I want to wear something, I have to get it wide enough to cover sort of the lazy hip clip to get it responsive here. So I think thinking about that too. That's a good A-line or the like job-based stuff looks better than say a hemp skirt. No one in a wheelchair is probably going in one of those. One last thing I'll say is that we sit and it's uncomfortable sometimes. So making sure we have enough fabric under a dress or a skirt, but yet covered. So looking at maybe having things that are longer in the back and shorter in the front would be ideal. So that you're not catching me. You've already saw that. That's amazing.
This isn't, we're not the designers ourselves, but.
Okay, I'll be your first customer.
No, but this is a good thing to learn, yeah, and they have done it.
Because we need to, because when you sit, everybody probably imagines this even when you walk, right? Then you pull your skirt down when you stand up, but we are never pretty much doing that. So what ends up happening is if you wear a skirt that's not long enough below, you end up like sort of constantly sticking it or sticking to the chair, which is in my case, it's like a leather chair and I'm constantly sticking to it, so I wear pants. But I want to wear dresses and skirts to wear.
Yeah, and for work, sorry. For work, dresses and skirts can sometimes be more comfortable. Any other designers and then we can jump to the clothing and let Maddie and Emmy, while you're talking about the clothing, Emmy, maybe you can also share your experience. Emmy just moved from a small town to a big city, and it's scary enough, and is looking for a job. So any other designers people have, and it doesn't have to be designers have adaptive, and you might be surprised that they do. And again, that's exactly what Runway of Dreams is here, to sort of empower and enlighten people about where it is. But okay, well then let's move. Do you guys want to share the clothes? And then, like I said, we're going to be here all most of the afternoon, that you can come see them too.
Yeah, so I can start. We have 16 items up here. Again, we'll be here for a long time today, so you can come look at it yourself as well. But we're just going to share a couple. So this first one it's a kind of like a hoodie, and it is in the front. And so these are actually magnetic, so it's a bit easier to kind of go on, even one-handed, and it just kind of like clicks together like that. So that's one option. This one is a collared t-shirt. I believe it's it's Silverts actually. And it is, the first part, there's an extension on the zipper, so it's easier to grab when you're zipping up and down. And then if you turn it around on the back, this is like an opening to make it more accessible, particularly, I'm assuming, for mostly wheelchair users, but also anyone who needs extra help in the back.
This is for a man, but obviously could be probably for anybody. And even though I think you could wear this to work, the polo shirt.
Oh, definitely.
Very few are still wearing ties and jackets.
Yeah.
That is sort of what you were talking about, that ability that would be comfortable.
And then it snaps the top with snaps up here, and there's also snaps on this side. So yeah, it's easy open on the back. And then I'll show one more example of another collared shirt we have. And the front is actually with Velcro. So the common term is hook and loop, but just for right now I'll say Velcro, but it's hook and loop. So that's kind of Velcro in the front, which again helps with accessibility, dexterity, all of those things.
Okay, so this dress is from Silverts, and it has an open back for accessibility. Yeah, sure. I was like trying to with one hand. It has an open back for accessibility, and it's like a very stretchy and comfortable material. And then we have this top from Thereabouts, and it has hook and loop or Velcro closure in the back. And then, let's see here. This is Tommy Hilfiger, and it's a flannel, but it's very soft material, and the buttons are magnetic. And so are the cuffs. The buttons on the cuffs are magnetic too. And this is just a sample dress, and the front, this one has Velcro in the front instead of the back. Very soft material. Yeah, and here's the khakis and the jeans. These are Tommy Hilfiger, and they are also magnetic. Yeah, and they're stretchy. Yeah. Uh, yeah.
Interesting comment about that made me think we are doing, and after, if you guys have time, please come up and you can look at all the projects we're doing, but one of the things we're really excited about is we call it our Next Gen project, and it's working with up-and-coming designers or students at fashion, like FIT and different schools and universities for fashion. And we did a project this year with FIT students, with Victoria's Secret, with Runway of Dreams, where we mentored these students on how to create adaptable clothing. And this was for, we did undergarments because it was Victoria's Secret, and we had models. We had models with all different disabilities. But one of the things you mentioned is we really tried to keep the costs down. And it's hard because things like magnets are expensive. So, and we don't have Runway of Dreams. We're a small nonprofit, and FIT is a university. So we talked about that a lot with the projects. Yeah, you want to pass that out? With what the students could actually order to create these, create their outfits, and it's hard. And that is something that's very important, and that's something we're all trying to do and to keep the cost down.
Yeah, one thing I was going to show is to touch a little bit about beauty. So Elf is just created some products for visually impaired consumers, and they have QR codes on the top. So you would get your phone out and scan the QR code, and then it has a visual description of what the product is and the packaging and what it does. I think that it's fairly new. They only have a few products, but it's awesome that the beauty industry is also getting, into the adaptive, industry for those consumers. So that's really important. And I know Rare Beauty has some features on their packaging as well. So yeah, it's really cool. And me and Maddie were going to talk about how to find adaptive garments. Mostly you find them online on the brand's website. You rarely can find them in stores. Unfortunately, that's what something like we hope for the future, that anyone can go into a store and shop just like everyone else and be able to find the garment that they need. But Maddie, do you want to talk a little bit about the brands and how to find them? Okay.
So one thing that we always advocate for is, I think someone mentioned, it's kind of hard to find them on the websites as well. And so some brands will have it just kind of in within everything else, and you can't tell what's adaptive and what's not, and you'll have to read the description. So we're always advocating for that for the future, of have a separate tab, just so you can see it more accessibly. And then the other thing is that there is a website, just one example, called Newly, if anyone's ever heard of that. It's a subscription process where you sign up and you get a certain amount of clothes every month. I think so, yes. And they just started a new adaptive feature part of it, which is so awesome, yeah. And so Newly is Nuuly. And so I recommend looking into that. I recommend just going on websites. We have a very, very large list of partners, and we have Tommy Adaptive, Victoria's Secret, Target, Zappos, Billy, Adidas, Walmart, JCPenney, Silverts, Sephora, a lot of different companies. And like Emmy said, it's typically online. And one of the answers for the question of what do you hope to see in the future is definitely accessible clothing in stores. For our internship this summer, we actually did a whole summer-long project on getting trendy brands involved in the adaptive space. And Emmy, I think it was yours, where you talked about having some kind of like adaptive dressing rooms, using AI to help with those kinds of things, and just kind of really creating an accessible outlet or space for people to shop, even like having enough space for wheelchair users, having clothing racks that might be lower and some that might be higher, just other things like that. So that, in my opinion, it's an opportunity to grow in in the adaptive space. But yeah, so that's kind of a bit about how to access it. Oh yeah, Amazon. It's on Amazon. There's some other companies. Anything else?
Kim, so our ultimate, throughout the year, we are working to educate and empower, and working with Maddie works a lot with the next gen. But our ultimate, at the end, where it all culminates, is we actually do a very large runway show during Fashion Week in New York. And Kim was in it this year as one of our models. We had 1,000 applicants for 50 models, and if anybody is interested in modeling, it actually just went up on our website. You can come get this, or you can apply to model. We pay our models. It's a really amazing experience. I mean, people have said it's really changed their lives to be there. We had sort of almost 800 people in the room. We get amazing social media. Please follow us on Instagram. And that's exactly, we had influencers in the room to exactly what you're talking about, to really educate people and understand that it's there and it needs to be bigger. Everyone needs to think about it. So I know we only have like 5 minutes, but if we want to do some questions, or did you have anything else you wanted to
Yeah.
add?
So I'm from Ohio. I moved from a very small town of 4,000 people to New York City by myself to work in the fashion industry just 4 months ago. I was very, very nervous, of course, but I knew that that was a big step to get me started in the fashion industry. And being visually impaired, you know, it came with so many challenges going from the small town to moving to New York City. And I owe so much. Like, I'm so grateful for the Commission for the Blind because they have helped me so much with the job search process and mobility training and like going over my benefits because I've never worked before and really just helping me adjust to the city. So I really am grateful for those resources that they provide people with disabilities. And you know, hearing about Runway of Dreams, I'm only 25, so I'm very grateful for the generation, my generation, because I think that this is a huge topic, studying fashion, adaptive apparel. I think that a lot of people my age are excited about it, are really involved. So I think that I have a lot of hope for the future in adaptive apparel with the next generation of fashion leaders. And yeah, I think that, you know, it's such a great organization that Runway of Dreams has, providing opportunities for college students and models and, you know, seeing those models show representation on the runway and ads and campaigns, like it's so needed. And I think that educating people is just one of the most important things, is just to get people talking about it because, you know, we're seeing a big change now that everyone's talking about it and getting the big brands involved like Tommy and Victoria's Secret, so hopefully others will follow in their footsteps. So yeah, I'm really hopeful for the future of adaptive apparel.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with this generation. I'm Gen Z. No, I'm Gen X. I'm Gen X. I'm not Gen Z. Right. This generation, and I'm really with both these women, and working with young people, and I've met a lot of young people with disabilities, all different disabilities, and the courage that they have. And you know, Emmy's story is hard to move to New York City, and then to move also with a disability, and it takes a lot of guts. But I think that's, and Mindy, our fearless leader, has a lot of guts and out there for her son Oliver, and I think we need to just keep pushing back. And people are listening, but we need to do more.
And I also just want to add to that point, because I think it's a really, really great point, is one thing that, like, I know we've all talked about that we hope to see in the future is representation within, like, leadership roles at these fashion and beauty companies. Because, like you were saying, sometimes you just don't know about it. And, like, again, we were saying earlier, the term disability is such a huge umbrella term. And so having people of all disabilities and all abilities serve as leaders in these roles and being representation for what's needed is, I think, the most important part. Yeah, and so getting our name out there and getting people involved, I think, is hopefully our next step.
And we do have a lot, I don't think we have them here, but, we have a lot of children's clothes. Oh, that's what I was gonna ask. Yeah, and Target. Yeah, we have a lot of models. Target, and they have a great, and Target's very well priced. And I think J.C. Penney probably has kids' clothes, and Kohl's. I'm not sure, but absolutely, and they are all at a very good price point. So Zappos has been, and Billy's. No. Right. Billy, Adidas also has some, but Skechers. Yeah, but Zappos does, now you can buy one shoe. It's, you always have to buy two shoes if you only need one, or two different size. Zappos look on, they have a Zappos Adaptive. They're amazing. Billy's has children's, I think. And Billy's, I think, is sold at Target. I know you guys all have to go on to your next thing, but we will be here yeah. Yeah, and come back and you can look at the clothes, but we'll be here all much of the afternoon. Thank you so much. Yeah.